Hello, welcome to lesson 2, volume, how to find the volume with a missing radius or height. So to start off, I'll be starting with the cone. So the formula for a cone, for the volume of a cone, is 1/3 times BH, and that's a capital B. So the formula for this is simple. It's the 1/3 and the base of this cone, which is the circle. And the formula for that is pi r squared. So the new formula, to make it easier, is 1/3 times pi times r squared times height. So I'll be starting with the missing height. So we know that the radius is, let's say 4, and we don't know what the height is. So in order to find it, you have to do everything in the steps but the h. So we know we can multiply the 1/3 and the pi and the 1/3. You know you can multiply the 1/3 and the pi and the radius squared. So when you multiply all those together, it would be 1/3 times pi, which is in this case 3.14 because that's what I'm using, and the radius, which is 4 squared. And you put that in your calculator. So 1/3 times 3.14 times 4 squared. When you multiply that, you get 16.7 rounded to the tenths. And we know that the volume is 17, and we know that the radius is 4. We already used the radius in this case, so we don't need it anymore. And this is the answer that we get when we put that into the calculator. So now you're going to get the volume, which is 17, and you're going to divide it by whatever you got here. So it's 17 divided by 16.7, and the answer you get rounded to the tenths place is 1. So that's your height. So h equals 1. Now we're going to do missing height. Missing radius. So we have the height, which is 7. And it's the same formula, 1/3 times BH, which is 1/3 times pi times radius squared times height. Now, we know the height this time, but we don't know the r. So we cross out the r, and only the r, not the square. So we get 1/3 times pi times h, and we multiply that. So we know that the RH is 7, so we multiply it by 7. And when we put that in the calculator, it's 1 divided by 3 times 3.14 in this case, because I'm using 3.14, times 7. And I get 7.3 rounded to the tenths place, 7.3. And now we need to divide the 21 divided by 7.3. So the volume divided by whatever we get in this equation. So 21 divided by 7.3. And when you round it to the tenths place, it is 2.9. But we're not done yet. We still have the square of the radius. So now we have to do the inverse operation of that, which is the square root. So this would be the formula for it. It would be the v divided by 1/3 times pi times 7 square rooted. So the square root of the volume divided by 1/3 times pi times 7. So you have to do what's inside first. So we already did that, and we got 2.9. And then you find the square root of 2.9, which is, and it is 1.7 rounded to the 10th place. So your radius for this would be 1.7. Now the next one that we're going to do is a cylinder. And the cylinder is the same thing for the prism, but the only difference is that the cylinder's base is a circle, while the prism's base is, depending on what the prism is, if it's a triangular prism, it would be the triangle. If it's a rectangular prism, it would be the bottom area, the area of the bottom square or rectangle. But I'll be doing the cylinder today, right now. So let's do the missing height first. So we know that the diameter is, let's say, 7. So we need to find the height. That's question mark. Let's do x. So we have to find the radius first, but before we do that, I will be writing out the equation. So the formula, so it's base times height, and the base for the cylinder is a circle. So it would be pi times r squared, and then times the h. So we have to find the radius, so let's divide the 7 by 2, which is 3.5. So let's put that in the equation. Pi, which is in this case 3.14, times 3.5 squared. And since we don't know the height, we'll just cross it out for now. I'm going to change the x to height, or to h, Okay, so, and the volume for this one will be 13. Okay, so now we put that in our calculator. So 3.14 times 3.5 squared. Okay, it should be 38.5 rounded to the 10th place. So 38.5. So now that we have 38.5, we're going to divide volume, which is 13, by 38.5. I'm going to change the 13 to, let's say, 50. Just because I don't want it to be a really small decimal. Okay, so 50 divided by 38.5 is 1.3 rounded to the 10th place. So our height is 1.3. H equals 1.3. Okay, so now we're going to do the missing radius. So the formula is BH, and the base is pi times r squared times h. So we don't have the r, so we cross out the r and only the r. So we multiply 3.14 times the height, which is 3. And when we put that in our calculator, it is 9.42. And I'm not going to round to the nearest tenth just because it's only 2 digits in the decimal. So it's fine. 42. So now we do 9.42 divided by 24. Oh, I'm sorry, wait. 24 divided by 9.42. And you should get 2.5 rounded to the tenths place. 2.5. But we're not done yet, because when we write it out like this, v divided by pi r squared h. Oh my god. Oh, I'm sorry. V times h and the square root of that. So we already divided v by the pi times h, and we got 9.42. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, no. We got 2.5. We got 2.5 when we divided it, and now we have to find the square root of 2.5. And the square root of 2.5 is 1.6 when you round it to the tenths place. So the radius is 1.6. Okay, so the final one we have is the sphere. So for the sphere, it's really easy because you just don't have the radius, which is the only thing you need. So it's really easy. So since you don't have the radius, you cross that out right away. And this is how you would set it up. It's v. Oh, before anything, the v equals 14. So the v divided by 4 divided by 3 times pi, and you need the cube root of that. So no, first we have to do 4 divided by 3 times 3.14, because I'm using 3.14 for pi, and that would equal to 13.42. And now that we have that, we have to divide 14 by 13.42. So 14 divided by 13.42 is 1 when you round it to the tenths place. So 1 is the answer to that. So 1. And now you have to find the cube root of that. So the cube root of 1, it should be 1. That is your radius, your missing radius. So the radius is 1. Now if you wanted to find the diameter, it would be 1 times 2. Times 2, which is equal to 2. So the diameter is 2. And that is it for our lesson 2 on volume. And I'll be back with another lesson later.